Hey, yeah, second episode
Well,
already.
exciting. Hello,
Hi.
I'm Sayaka,
And I'm Tammo.
and this is
Japan,
Japan, but
different. Um,
We agreed not to do them, but
yeah,
we
maybe
happened
maybe the
again.
last time now. I guess it's better if we don't do that every time. So yeah. Yeah, today there was something really cool just in front of our window.
Yeah, we have a big window,
Mm.
no TV. We don't need a TV because a big crane came
Mm.
on the pond in front of a house. Like,
Yeah, it was super cool. I just finished cooking lunch, and then we sat here and eating the first bits. And I was just turning around to this kind of panorama window, and there was this maybe the people will know, like those dancing cranes. Hokkaido is famous for those dancing cranes, and they are living super close by.
tancho.
Tancho, with those little red hat.
Yeah.
And one of those was actually at that moment just about to land in our little lake outside, which is still kind of frozen over. So he was with his wings in between the landing, and I was just, whoa, what is happening there? And then I think we observed it for like 10 minutes or something like this.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was stalking through the lake and searching for food, though we don't have any fish in the lake right now
I think I'm planning to get fish in the lake.
to feed the little cranes.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. Let's see.
it's good.
So yeah, this episode, I think the topic is how we met.
How
So
did we? Like, it feels like we've always known each other.
yeah, but there was a time when we didn't.
Mm.
And I think it's quite interesting. So because it's the second episode, I think we should kind of explain more who we are and how we got to live together in Japan. It's not really everyday life's stories.
Yeah, it's very unique. So we met at a language school.
Yeah, so maybe how did we both like develop this interest in Japan? Maybe we start there.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about our background story. You want to go first?
Oh, so at my former employer or at my previous job, I had lots of waiting times, and it was totally fine during that waiting times to use your phone or something like this. And my colleagues, they were just playing games on their phones, and it's already a few years down the line. So when I saw that most of them were just playing or joking around, I thought, okay, I would like to use those waiting times in a meaningful way, learn something, maybe don't waste the time. So I used a language learning app to brush up my French.
French?
Yeah. I learned French in school, which is like a very common second language after English in Germany. And originally I was aiming for higher education, and therefore you would have needed a second foreign language. So yeah, I was Um, learning French, I was always terrible.
Yeah, I've heard this story before, but I was expecting Japanese. It sounds like French.
No, 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 no. But I actually left. I don't know how you call it. I graduated at my last school in my last school year.
Middle school, high school,
Is it maybe
compulsory school?
is it? I think it's comparable with high school. Like it's a bit hard to explain the school system in
Yes.
Germany, and it doesn't really matter right now. But the
This-
last the last year of school, I left with a 5, which is comparable to a E in English use
E
grades.
is like
It's the very
A, B,
lowest,
C,
right?
D, E. I don't.
No,
F.
F is the lowest. So it was a E.
Eh.
Yeah, like the 5, the 1 is the best grade in German school system, and the 6 is the worst. So I left with a 5.
Wait, good or bad?
Bad.
Okay.
And I knew I could have done better, but at that time in school, I was just like, I don't know, I fought my personal little war with French in school back then. So at those waiting times,
And French. Okay.
yeah, and at those waiting times, I used this language learning app to brush up the French because it was just really annoying to me. And after some time, I actually felt like, oh yeah, things are coming back. I remember stuff from school back then, and it was actually fun to learn French again. So I kept on doing that. And after, I think, roughly half a year, I got to this point. I think everyone learning a second language or third language gets to this point where you're thinking about, if I'm continuing learning this language, I should put it to some good use, like maybe living in that country where I speak that language, or maybe use it in a different way, in another way that's beneficial. But I couldn't really see myself in France. France, or maybe in a French-speaking part of Africa. So, yeah, I was a bit, wait, should I actually continue learning French then? And it was that time that this language learning app introduced the first Japanese course that they had. They came up with the very first version back then. So I was just curious and started to learn a tiny bit. And then you realize, okay, you have to learn hiragana, you have to learn katakana to actually start learning some bits of Japanese, like some sentences. And it felt like a fun little adventure learning those 2 alphabets. So it was quite fun, and I continued. And also at that time, I was restoring as a hobby an old Japanese sports car. And it was just the thing that I had to order a lot of parts for that car. And I couldn't do that in Europe. So I was ordering some parts from the US. They had a big warehouse in, I think, California, where they still had a lot of parts for old. It was a Nissan. But other parts I had to order directly from Japan. And that's where the troublesome part came in, because back then they didn't have the website translation already. So you couldn't just, like nowadays, you just click on a foreign website and then you can auto-translate it to English or whatever. But back then, not really possible yet. So I struggled. I struggled a lot and somehow managed to order the parts I needed. But yeah, when this came together, like the curiosity about Japanese, learning in the language app, and needing to deal with Japanese sometimes, I thought after some while, after learning a bit of hiragana and katakana, okay, so if I continue learning Japanese, that would be interesting, I guess. Like maybe traveling to Japan one day, maybe longer travel, like staying there for some time. The culture is interesting. What you know from the traditions. I mean, we all grew up with anime, and we had some
even in Germany.
Yeah, even in Germany. And so I think through anime I had a rough idea about Japanese culture and traditions. So I knew like, yeah, that would be interesting. And then the part of the language came, yeah, to be. So through this language learning, I learned about working holiday visa. Like before, I completely didn't know that is possible. I just heard of like people leaving school and they went oftentimes for a working holiday in Australia or actually New Zealand. But I never knew that it's possible to actually go to Japan. But when I learned about that, I thought like, yeah, that sounds like something that I might be interested in. And at that time, I think when I learned about it, I was 27. So I also read that one of the how is it called? Requirements. The requirements of the visa is that it has an age restriction from 18 to 30, usually. So I was getting close to this 30 years old. And so I wanted to give it a try. Okay, let's continue learning Japanese and then travel to Japan for 1 full year with the working holiday visa. So that's basically how I, in the end, got to Japan. And it's a bit long, but yeah, that's it. So your turn, I guess.
So I'll keep it a bit short. So I was born in New Zealand. Yeah, I already said. My mom is Japanese, and I went to a Japanese kindergarten in New Zealand. And I actually had many Japanese or half Japanese friends. And I would learn Japanese. My mom would buy these textbooks, charenji, and sometimes I would cry. It's not easy learning katakana.
You had to complete them like homework, additional homework.
Like the characters, some of them look so similar. And we'll take piano lessons. Yeah, Japan. And yeah, every week we would get together with my Japanese friends and study together. And some of my friends went to Saturday school, Hoshuko, but I didn't. And every year I would go to Japan. My mum would always have a side job. And thanks to her, thanks mum, we got to travel every year to Japan. and she would put me into a normal Japanese primary school. Like we would stay at my Japanese grandma's house, and yeah, I would be forced to just be with every other normal Japanese kid and have to do the kanji tests. Like in Japan, they have kanji drills, books. It's a lot of rote memory, just writing. And it's very obvious if you don't study because you just get zero. I have a vivid memory of somehow something happened and I didn't study and I somehow got zero. And that stuck with me because I was like a straight A student. And I would cry if I didn't get an A in a test. But yeah. And then fast forward to high school, because of my dad's work, my whole family moved to Australia. And I spent some years there and studying a lot. I actually got a scholarship, but like a partial scholarship.
Because of your top A grade.
Yeah, like my one goal was just to get the highest ATA I could get, and don't to any high schoolers watching this, your test scores do not define you.
Yeah.
But I put a lot of pressure on myself, and my parents, they didn't. It was just me putting pressure on myself. My parents were like,
not pushing
the
you.
world is your oyster and do what you like. Like my mom would even tell me, like, have you made a boyfriend yet? But I'm like, no, Mom, I need to study.
God. So
like,
serious.
Parenting hack.
Sorry, Mom, no time for boyfriends.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what instilled in me, but I felt like university was the only path. But when I finally got to choose a university, I was so confused because once I got in, I realized I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I actually did a lot of soul searching, like, what am I naturally good at and what do I actually want to do? And I wanted to do something I'm passionate about. So fast forward, and somehow I found a way to live in Japan, and I helped people. I spent many years helping people come to Japan, showing them language schools across Japan. So I have a lot of experience in that. And yeah, and then I worked in a language school, and there I met you. And I just want to clarify, nothing happened like when I was a staff and you were a student.
No.
Because you were on a working holiday. You came, so you were like a student in winter, and then you asked about, like, can you help with the school? So you helped in the summer.
Yeah, because I was on a working holiday visa. So
Yeah.
I started, like probably most of working holiday travelers, in Tokyo. And I roughly spent 3 or 4 weeks in Tokyo. But I mean, I come from a rural area in Germany. So the big city was both at the same time exciting because it's the size of a city that I've never seen and experienced before. And actually living in such an environment was exciting and something new. But already And I also went to another language school there because I really wanted to take a serious approach with Japanese language. But after 3-4 weeks, I thought, okay, if there's some, or maybe I should just visit different language schools to see how they differentiate between each other, because probably not every language school is the same experience. And also, the second I went to, like the one that you were, was a bit more in the countryside. I guess we could say so. It's not the fully Tokyo-like city feeling. So I wanted to give that a try, and yeah, I arrived there after a few weeks, and I was going through the course there for another 4 weeks. So I just saw you in your staff role there, and we had not really much contact, I would say. Like you were mostly doing office work, and as the students just sometimes go for like organizing things or paperwork, some minor paperwork. So there was not that much contact between us. But yeah, from there I I think from there I left towards Sapporo, if I remember correctly. Should be Sapporo, and met some friends from Germany that they asked if I could show them around, and so we spent some time in Sapporo. There was also the snow festival during that time. That was pretty cool. And my main goal back then was, because of the working holiday visa, I wanted to travel throughout all of Japan, like to the furthest, to the northernmost point, and then from there take a turn towards the southernmost point. Yeah, I didn't make it, but this point in Sapporo, or this time in Sapporo, was originally meant for me as the starting point of once traveling completely throughout every part. So because I was in the north already, I wanted to get to the northernmost point, and from there slowly make my way to the southernmost point. But yeah, spoiler, I didn't make it. From Hokkaido, I was slowly making my way back south towards Tokyo, but then I found some work in Osaka at the guest house. I stayed there in the beginning. Guest house. Yeah, in the beginning I stayed there as a regular guest, but basically I was wherever I came to, every place I came to, I was just asking them for work, because on the working holiday, if you don't ask, nothing will happen. So I was asking basically everyone at every location.
Yeah, asking and networking is the best way to find a job, actually.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
like the hidden market. You don't always need to look online.
Yeah, and there it was also successful. So I think I stayed 1 week as a regular guest, and then I stayed another month working there. So I think I worked 3 or 4 hours in the morning, and in the afternoon I could explore Osaka and basically stay for free. So that was a cool opportunity, really grateful for. And after 1 month, I was heading towards the mountains around Kyoto. There was an organic farm, and maybe can
we
mention.
need to go there and visit.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a thing called woofing, where you help out for, I think, maximum of 6 hours per day on organic farms and the like, for free accommodation, basically. So there's no payment involved, but you can stay for free. And I think they should serve 1 or 2 meals per day. But the rest, like, yeah, just cool work.
Cool.
Cool work. And
You told me how hard you're working, like in the summer, and
yeah, but like,
just so people know what they get into.
okay, it's kind of hard work, yeah, depends on, but like looking back, it was cool. So that's why cool work. Yeah, but because I asked everywhere for work, I also asked at the language school, and just after at the organic farm, I stayed for even 2 months, so quite long. And then at one point, I got an email from the school, and they were asking like, "Hey, would you still be willing to help out? Because there's some, we would have some work for you, basically." And I was thinking about it for an evening, and then I replied like, "You know what? Yeah, why not? Why not? I can come back and help out. Sounds cool." Because I just wanted to experience a lot of different work environments in Japan, outside from what I've known from Germany before. And I never worked in a school environment before, or on an organic farm before. So I was just trying to, yeah, take all those opportunities and just see what happens. So I got back, and then we were working together for, I think that was roughly also a month, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, and I think during that time, because working together and organizing some things and paperwork in the office and blah, 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 we also talked a lot, and we found out that we have a lot of things in common and are pretty like-minded, I guess.
No, when we were still working, we were just working a lot, and then I wrote you. I like dropped you off to the bus stop, and I handed you this letter.
At the end of the
At the
stay.
end, yeah.
Yeah. True.
Because I was just like so thankful. Like without you, we couldn't have made this work. And,
Yeah, I think I took a lot of.
and I really felt that, yeah.
I think I took a lot of work off the shoulders of the staff at that moment. So that's why probably you wrote this little letter. And that was actually towards the end of my working holiday year then. So from there, I made my way back to the airport and to the, flying back to Germany, actually.
Yeah. The letter's there, but maybe I'll keep it private.
But of course, I still have it and keep it dear. The blue letter. Yeah, so when I was back in Germany, I read the letter and I thought, wait, nobody's writing letters nowadays anymore.
I like writing letters.
Yeah,
but I guess it wasn't to every student.
I hope not.
Oh wait, no, you were staff member. Yeah, I mean we can read it. It's a thank you letter.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Oh yeah, let's keep in contact online." But I remember it was like 8 days later.
Yeah. that's so me. Like I always take a long time to respond and reply things, messages, and even letters. But I read this and I thought like, wow, that's someone actually put the effort into handwriting a little thank you letter. So I wanted in return definitely thank you for the cool time at the school. And through this messaging online, Line, maybe we should mention, is the most used messenger app.
LINE.
Most used messenger app in Japan. So I was just thanking you in return for the handwritten letter online. But from there, it turned into a conversation. And the conversation grew longer and longer and longer.
Yeah. Like I'm someone who just likes making friends, and I usually start liking someone once I become friends for a long time. And it's like, oh, maybe I like this person.
I see. Yeah, I remember that in the beginning, of course, like regular little messages like, "Hey, yeah, thank you, yeah, I'm safe and sound back in Germany and doing this and that." And from those little messages, it turned into like long messages, to really, really long messages. And what maybe most people don't know, when you write really long messages on WhatsApp or Line, at one point they become like extra notes that you have to open. Yeah. Like they turn into something else.
Like a document.
And at one point we only had those really, really long extra note messages. And I would every day take my time and write like really meaningful replies. And I think during that time, yeah, it changed from friendship to probably more.
But like I think overseas, like these things such as situationships, and I didn't want that, like not knowing if you're boyfriend and girlfriend.
Ah, that's terrible. Yeah, no.
Like in Japan, even though the culture is very indirect, usually like you don't tell someone no, you say, it's difficult.
Chotto.
Yeah, but for some reason, for couples, like boyfriend and girlfriend, there's this thing called kokuhaku, and you basically have like a confession saying, "Will you be my boyfriend?" Or
Yeah,
what was it?
I mean, if you translate it, it's even called white confession.
What? White confession.
Kokuhaku?
Kokuhaku? Yeah, haku is white.
Mm.
White confession?
Okay, we call it white confession.
Okay.
Well, anyways.
Yeah. I think I asked you, do you know what kokuhaku is?
Yeah, at one point you asked me, hey, do you know the tradition in Japan called kokuhaku? And I knew at that point, so I was like, wait, is she indirectly pointing out to...
Indirectly pointing out.
So, but at that point, yes, so I knew what it is. So I confessed, like, yeah, you know, I mean, in Japanese, I was...
we were writing in Japanese.
The kokuhaku, I was putting the efforts in and wrote in Japanese. And so basically you say, like, if I'm okay for you, please, from now on, let's go out together. Let's be a couple.
I need to read back on the message.
I don't know exactly what it was anymore, but yeah.
Really?
So you're confessing
shy.
and saying like, hey, I like you. If I'm okay and you like me too, let's be a couple, basically.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah, like watashi. They say watashi de yokereba.
So I wrote something along that lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically you said, yes, I like you too. And from that moment,
I was so happy.
we couldn't stop smiling and we were a couple basically. So I think the kokuaku is a cool thing because it clarifies the situation. Like you said, the situationships, it's a terrible thing in Western dating culture. Like sometimes people go out like 20 times and still there's, are we a thing now? Are we not? Nobody knows. Why should we? It's terrible. Just clarify things. Hey, I like you. Do you like me too? Yes, I like you too. Okay. Clarification. Clarification rocks.
Interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, I was back in Germany, so we entered a long distance relationship. You could say it, call it that way. And I entered university at that time, wanting to become an engineer. But I just did one semester, and I have to say, it's not my world. University life, not for me. The way they taught things, like everything, of course, is just theoretical and just, yeah, I think I'm just more towards practical things, like learning through doing.
And
This
you learn
approach.
through doing.
Yeah, I
It's
learned
not
through
for
doing.
it's not for you.
So
Yeah. I'm
and,
also the same. Yeah.
so I pretty early on I felt like, no, this is not for you. So it felt pretty lost, and nah, I don't want to keep on doing this. And because we got together at that time, of course there were thoughts like, how could this work living together, how could we make this work? But yeah, during the first semester breaks, I therefore was planning to visit you in Japan once more. And I think that was the time when we went to Nagoya, right?
We we were planning to go to the Toyota Museum.
Yeah.
Then I was like,
Yeah, originally we actually planned to go to the Toyota Museum.
next we went to Nagoya Castle. It was spring. Yeah, we took the Shinkansen.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And we went to my grandma's house and we made gyoza together with my family. My mom was there, I think.
I think I got to know basically everyone of your family during that. No?
No, I think
Most.
maybe the whole family was in New Year's. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. New Year's was full family, but at that moment, that visit was already most of the family members, like of your Japanese side of the family. And yeah, that was also a really cool time. And I think at that moment, I already knew living without you again would be difficult. So we had to come up with a... Okay.
What was that?
The ghost is back. our house ghost.
That's never happened before. How could you move the camera thing?
Maybe there's a tiny wooden wooden strip that's on a shelf, and it just decided it wants to fall down. But yeah, anyways, we definitely thought about
Maybe we're
ways.
talking too much.
You think
It's a
so?
sign.
But we were thinking about ways how we could live together actually, and where. So I think early on we decided on Japan as the country to live
Yeah.
together.
I never thought of leaving my small town. So
Could you imagine living in Germany with me?
it wasn't an option. Ich bin Sayaka.
Yay.
Ich bin. Yeah.
Yeah, still learning strong.
I'm like 55 day streak on Duolingo.
Not bad. Eichhörnchen?
Heinchen. I don't know. Liebe Einhörnchen?
Eichhörnchen? Du liebst
リスが好きです。
Du liebst Eichhörnchen? Wow. Nicht schlecht.
Yeah, there's Isodisu running around. Red squirrels.
Back in Germany, after the visit in Nagoya, I think we already were pretty certain on the let's live together thing. And so we thought like thoroughly about how can this work in Japan.
Honestly, I wasn't thinking ahead.
What?
I was just like,
You're telling me that now? What is?
I was just happy. I don't see 5 years into the future.
You don't make long-term plans.
No.
Okay. But yeah, in the end, like I made my preparations to move to Japan, leave Germany and move to Japan.
It's a big step.
Yeah, it was a big step. So I had to sell a lot of furniture, and I had a house in Germany, and like yeah, selling that and everything related to that. So it was a lot of preparation and necessary. Wouldn't say work, but yeah, it was a lot that needed preparation, just in general, to move long term. So then at one point I came back to Japan, and our aim was to found a company, and I wanted to apply for the business manager visa, which is or was one way because it got stricter recently. But it was a way where you could be self-employed, yeah, leading your own company, and therefore be eligible to have this or to be in Japan on this business manager visa. But while we were planning for that and preparing documents and business plans, we already knew that there should be no other person in our life from now on. So
Meaning we couldn't imagine ourselves without each other.
yeah, definitely. So we got engaged in July, and we married 6 months later.
December 26th. I remember it was Christmas in Germany. and then Christmas in Japan, and then our wedding, and then my birthday.
Yeah, now we always have one full week of celebrations.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It was
It's
a
fun.
lot.
So every year we have a very fun week with a lot of stuff going on. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Maybe the next episode we will talk about our wedding.
yeah, there will be also a long chapter.
Or what we are actually doing here.
Yeah, those are definitely next episodes. We should talk about those things.
If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below.
Questions, suggestions for topics for upcoming episodes. Or if you, I don't know, if you maybe know someone who met in a similar way, international couples, or maybe if you even could think about doing a working holiday on your own and travel throughout Japan to maybe meet the love of your life. Yeah, let us know in the comments.
No guarantees.
No guarantees. And we will see you in the next episode.
But also, if you are thinking of working holiday,
Yeah,
we support people.
yeah, we do.
So you can also see the website below.
Just give it a check and then, yeah, interesting things on the website.
またね。
Bye bye.
Cheers.